How do new commercial real estate agents establish credibility and get new clients? We're speaking with Tracee Jones of Qualified Agent to get her thoughts. I'm David Grana, and this is Real Talk. Tracee Jones, thank you so much for joining us today. Really appreciate it.
Thank you, David. It's awesome to be here. Thanks for having me.
And I understand that you are joining us from a very tropical location today. You're Dallas based, but you're in a very nice, warm, and beautiful climate right now.
I am in sunny Miami. It is 82 degrees out. The beach is beautiful. And back home, it's like, I think 32 degrees. So I'm not looking forward to going back next week.
Oh my
But
gosh.
right now, it's fantastic. It's beautiful here.
It's funny. Normally, my calls, especially when I talk to people back east, I have the advantage being here in Las Vegas because it's normally nice. It's overcast and 60 degrees. Miami has got its beat right now.
Definitely. All sun, all sun shining, and the ocean's gorgeous. It's green and blue today. Beautiful.
Excellent. So, Tracee, give me a little bit of background on yourself. What's been your journey throughout the world of real estate?
Oh my goodness. I don't know if we had enough time for all that. Let's see. I've been in the business for about 20 years. Started out in residential, was there for about 15, well, maybe 12 to 15 years, somewhere around there. And I had a baby. When I had a baby, I stepped out of the game for 4 years. And when I stepped back in, I was like, I loved residential when I was in it. I was good at it when I was in it. But I'm like, I don't want to do res. I can't be at someone's beck and call anymore. I can't be showing houses on weekends and evenings and answering my phone at all hours of the day. So I started thinking, what do I like? And I started thinking about investors. I loved my investors. They were very black and white, all about the numbers, knew exactly what they wanted, really cool people. I was like, maybe I should focus on investors. And I saw an ad for about getting into commercial real estate. I was with the Keller Williams office at the time, and I clicked that little button, and that just opened a whole new world up to me. I got excited about everything I saw. I started seeing the opportunities, and my husband, who's a digital marketing consultant, had a business partner who was one of the our client who was one of the top hotel developers and hotel remodeling companies in the country. And so he had access to the, lots of great info that I need to know about hotels and contacts and the foreign investor list and all the things that any commercial real estate agent could possibly want to have. He had it for me. So it opened up a whole new world. So that's how I got into commercial. Did that about 2016, made the best of my market because my hubby slash business partner, Ross, got me to the top of Google Maps. And I survived on the business I made just that came in off of Google. So that's how I did this and did commercial real estate for a couple of years and eventually became the CEO of Michael Simpson's company, the National Commercial Real Estate Association, and started my own marketing company. So I do training, marketing, helping commercial real estate agents and brokers and franchise companies like Sperry Commercial Global Affiliates, which was one of the fastest growing commercial real estate franchises, helping them get established in the market and recruit. So that's my journey in a nutshell.
Now, I have to ask you. So you took what's traditionally a very old school industry.
Mm-hmm.
You went digital.
Did.
You use Google.
Yes.
That's quite innovative and very unique, particularly for commercial real estate.
Yes, one of the best things that could have happened to me is that I was married to Ross Jones. My background was public relations and real estate sales. That was real estate marketing. That was my thing. And I went to when I first got into commercial, the brokerage I was at, I was the only commercial real estate agent. The broker was all supportive of me doing it, but reality was no one there could support me. So they put me with a regional mentor, and her introduction, my first call with her was, "Hello, welcome to real estate. Welcome to KW Commercial. Welcome to. I'm glad you got into commercial real estate, but you need to get a book." That was pretty much it. I need to get a book, and I'm like, "What? I need to get a book," But I listened to her, and she said the reason why you need to buy this book is because in 2 years there's going to be a market shift. It's going to be a slowdown, and all of the experienced agents are preparing She said, we don't think it's going to be like 2008, 2009, which I'm like, fantastic, because I lost my shirt. I lost everything in 2008, 2009. I cannot do that again. She said, but basically, I'm going to translate what she said to me. You green bean newbie who don't know what you're doing, if all the experienced people are preparing for this shift and they're reading a book, you definitely are going to need a book because you have no idea what you're doing. That's basically what she said to me. She didn't say those words, but that's how I interpreted what she said.
I mean, that's an ominous message to hear, and
It was.
especially for us that have lived through 08, 09. By the way, I lost a
Yes.
lot of money in 08, 09 myself. That
Yes.
must have left you petrified.
I really was, because I realized I'm thinking I am stepping back into something that's going to take me right back to where I had to fight and claw to get out of, the first time. I can't do this. So I went home and I told Ross, I said, okay, this is what this lady says. In 2 years, it's going to be a slowdown. I've got to learn everything I can about commercial. I've got to sell as much as I can, and I've got to do it quick, stockpile over the year, and then I should be fine with riding out the wave. That was the plan. Well, he's goes off on this tangent of all these things that I need to do, with the two most important ones being, he goes, I've got to get you to the top of Google, and you're going to have to start doing videos. I'm like, what? Top of Google? I don't even know what that means. And videos, I don't do videos. He's like, you're going to have to start doing that. He said, okay, well, let's get started. So we lived in a beach community. I love the beach. I'm a beach girl. We lived in a beach community. We would literally pull out of our driveway, go right around the corner, like by the Intracoastal. He's okay, get out. Time to do videos. I'm like, what? He's like, you got to get comfortable doing this. We had on a rooftop patio. He'd be like, okay, let's go outside. Let's go. Time to do videos. I'm like, what? But the beauty of this, I love to make fun of him doing that because it was petrifying, when he was doing this with me. But it was wonderful because he helped me with scripts, told me what I should be talking about. I should be talking about what are investors doing. And around that same time, I started looking for training and found Michael Simpson. And one of the things that he talked about was investors. So I did a video on what are investors looking for? Why do they move to St. Pete Beach? What can you expect when you get there? So I focus on what would an investor want. That helped me to, that really helped me a lot because I did not have the experience of being in commercial, but I knew what people wanted and I was able to speak to that. I'm like, what would I want as an investor? What would I want? So that's what I would talk about. Well, lo and behold, Ross did get me to the top of Google Maps. For whatever reason, I expected that it would take, I don't know, a year, because normally good marketing takes about a year to start getting results. It didn't. It took just, I don't know, maybe a couple of weeks. I got my first call. The phone didn't ring every day, but when it did ring, it was a good day because the type of clients that were calling, I was not prepared for. I had no idea that asset managers, corporations, business owners, I had no idea that any of those people were looking for commercial real estate brokers just by typing in Google whatever the popular keyword, which for my area was commercial real estate broker, St. Pete Beach. I had no idea, hotel broker, St. Pete Beach. I had no idea that that's what we're doing. I assumed that they would call the big brokerage houses like Marcus and Millichap or Cushman and Wakefield if they wanted services, but they weren't. What they were doing was going online, searching, doing their homework themselves. They had already seen my videos by the time they called me. They had already been to my website, assumed that I was this big company because at that time I gave myself a corporate brand. Which every commercial real estate broker should do. You should never just go in as your own name. You should give yourself a company name. And so they assumed that I had a company. And I heard consistently, well, you seem to be the only one down there that knows what's going on. I heard that all the time. Never had to qualify myself, which I was not prepared for. Because in residential, you always have to talk about, why should you choose me over the other realtor? What am I going to give you that's different? I did not qualify myself not one time to any person on that call. Now, I had a listing proposal or listing presentation that I would send when it was time to actually get the business, but I never had to sell myself because they were already sold on me from what they saw online. So that's something that, commercial's old school.
Mm-hmm.
If you really want to start getting business, you have to do new school tactics. You have to maximize digital marketing. You just have to. And you have to be creative, and you can't be stuffy. People don't want just stuffy anymore. You got to ride with the times.
Now, I don't have the advantage of marrying a digital marketing manager. I don't think many people do. So, however, you have a solution to this. And by the way, it is not a dating app. It's a consulting firm called QualifiedAgent. please tell us more about Qualified Agent. I think it's more than obvious why you thought it would be beneficial based on your experience, but tell us about that journey of when you transitioned into establishing Qualified Agent and what success you've had in helping other commercial agents or other agents that have transitioned into the commercial space.
Absolutely. That journey started with Qualified Agent. That journey started because of what was done for me, what I learned and what I discovered. When we had to move out of the area because of my husband's work, which meant I couldn't sell. I couldn't sell anymore in Florida because I wasn't in Florida. Um, what kept pressing in my mind was every commercial real estate agent should be doing this. This is like the easiest thing in the world. Why? But no one knows. All the training I took, except for Michael Simpson's training, they cold call, cold call, cold call, cold call, mail, send them a book, but don't send the book till you send the note card, and don't do the note card until you've called this many times. There's this track that commercial real estate agents are on. You go networking events. Well, I'm thankful that I did start it when I did, because think about the market we're in right now, where it's COVID-19, where you can't find most of the people you normally cold call. You can't just stop into the office and ask the secretary for, a contact name. You're very limited. So when it comes to the success, I made best of my market. I made best of St. Pete Beach in 2016. That's what started it. And I made it strictly off of Google, off the leads that came in off of Google, from two hotels, 173 key hotel, a 200 key hotel, a Bank of America building, first floor of a Wells Fargo building, a medical plaza, and I can go on and on. But it came in from people, asset managers, corporations, out of state sellers. Just I type it in Google. That's all it was. So when I from working with Michael Simpson helped me tremendously in learning the business. Is where I learned how to actually talk the talk. You can get the leads, like in our case, you can come to Qualified Agent and we can get you to top Google Maps. We can help you with your website, everything that you need to get the business, win trust, look like that power broker. We can do all of that. But if you don't know what you're doing and you've not invested in training, it doesn't help. Like it won't help you because you won't be able to close the deal. Well, with the NCREA, I was able to learn what I needed to know to close the deals. So that was tremendous for me. Michael made me an offer to be the CEO. I started doing marketing for the NCREA, like all the things you see, website, the books, the podcast, all of that. We did that. That was how my relationship. It started with me learning from Michael, then from my husband and I redoing his marketing, to him making an offer for me to become the CEO of his company because I had helped him transform his business model. So, and helped him put the things that he wanted to do, because he's great. He's phenomenal. If you don't know who Michael Simpson is, I recommend everybody look him up, thencra.com. Uh, he made me an offer to become the CEO of his company, and that's how kind of took to the next level. We started training, teaching residential agents how to do commercial. And the question came up over and over again about marketing, and there wasn't a solution that was effective that can take a person that comes from a residential background into commercial. How do you do it? So that was a demand. It was a demand that was there. So after the NCRE grew to a new, as I took it as far as I could take it, brought in a new great team, then I transitioned back to focusing on just the marketing and helping other agents all across the country. Our clients are all across the country now with getting into commercial real estate.
And it seems like this is a really interesting marriage of the two. So you've got NCREA, which it gives you the foundational training, but
Yes.
then you've got Qualified Agent, which really cracks the nut of the marketing. It's great to know what you're doing, but people
Right.
need to know that you know what you're doing and
Absolutely.
you know how to do it.
Absolutely. You have to have both. You can't have one without the other. You just can't. You've got to, you can be the greatest agent in the world and you can be the smartest agent in the world. But if no one knows who you are and they can't find you, you're not going to get the business and you're not going to make the money that you could make. That's the only thing that saved me, was that, Ross, who is the co-founder of Qualified Agent, he got me to the top so that people could find me. And then because I had gotten trained under Michael, I was able to close the deals. So you got to have both.
Now, what are some of the pitfalls that you see whether it's a residential agent making the transition over or just brand new professional getting into commercial real estate, what are some of these pitfalls that you see, common mistakes that they kind of run into that you recommend that they avoid, or they find a way of not doing it as they make that transition?
One of the biggest ones is not knowing what your value is as a commercial real estate agent, not knowing what you have to offer. The question that I get the most often, whether I'm coaching, whether it's a marketing client, is why would they use me? I've gone to the trainings and I I know my formulas and I know my stuff, but I don't have any experience. All my experience is in residential, or I don't have any experience, period, because some of the people that come to us are brand new real estate agents. How do I even do this? Not knowing how to translate your experience from the work world and from your residential sales, not knowing how that translates into commercial and being able to communicate that in a way is one of the biggest mistakes that I see people do. The second is taking residential mindset and applying it to commercial. You don't take a picture of your cute dog to commercial. No one wants to see your dog and they're going to run the other way. Not knowing how to dress for photos. You're still trying to be cute and happy, and you know no one wants to see that in commercial. $200 million deal. I want to know that you know what you're talking about and that you're going to be able to get me to the finish line and that you're not going to lose my money. Those are some of the biggest things. And then the other is just not modeling and knowing what are people doing in this industry, not modeling the big boys. You have an idea that you think is good and you decide, okay, I like this idea. I saw a woman once with a purple website. I'm like, do you see Jones Lang LaSalle or Cushman and Wakefield or anyone with a purple website? No, because that's not a color that suggests strength. So not modeling is another thing, and not getting trained. I can go on and on with the pitfalls. We can talk all day on that. That's like a
I was about to say, but if they want to get more in depth into this, it's NCREA, sign up for courses, and also get onto the qualified agent website, which we'll put in the description, a link to the website in the description to this video.
Absolutely. Go to qualifiedagent.net at any time. We have a new learning center that's coming out that'll have free videos that you can go and watch and learn about everything from websites to podcasts. We do trainings. In fact, tomorrow we have a free call that's coming up where you can go in and you can learn. We always try to make whatever we put out where you can at least learn something for what you need to help you further along on your journey.
Now, when I do these interviews, I generally avoid using foul language. I'm going to use a term that is considered dirty in our industry. Um, so, but I want to know why it's considered so dirty, and I'd love to get your thoughts on it. And I've thrown it around, especially when I first got into real estate, but love to know your thoughts. Residential is that a dirty word?
You know, it is, depending on where you come from and what your background is. If you are a seasoned commercial real estate broker who prides yourself on knowing your numbers and being all business and serious real estate broker, I've noticed that there is a disdain for the residential agents. And I actually experienced this my first year of sales. It was terrible. There's a disdain for residential agents who are trying to step into the space because they're not considered as serious commercial real estate agents. And it's to the point where if, and it's one of the things that we focus on and making sure that your image is all commercial. If a commercial broker figures out that you're residential, if they get just a whiff of it, they will not work with you. I've heard stories of commercial real estate brokers hanging up on residential agents. Um, I've had some where they wouldn't work with me, and I didn't know why in the beginning, but I figured it out pretty quick. you know, it is. It's a dirty word if you are a commercial real estate broker, but if you are a residential agent, getting into commercial to me is phenomenal. It really is. It's a beautiful thing because I believe that the residential agent is better than a commercial real estate broker. They're better than a residential agent. And the reason being is because when you sell houses, okay, you're helping people with their life. You're getting them a house, you're getting them to residential income. But then when you can do commercial, you can also help them with their business, with their corporation. You can help them with wealth building that accelerates them more than just doing residential agents. So I believe the reason why it's a dirty word, as you call it, is because there are residential agents who give the industry a bad name. They don't study. They don't make sure they really know their craft. But for the residential agents who take the time to get trained and really know their stuff and really focus on commercial, you can't you can't beat that. Because that's a truly a full service agent who can help you with whatever you do. And that's phenomenal. Even with commercial, if you bring in a corporation, let's say you bring in Amazon or Whole Foods to your market, and that company has team members they want to bring in. Well, if you're a residential, you can help on the corporate relocation side. So you've got your plan. Hey, I've got you here. I can take care of your staff, your team members, and I can help you get the site to build, and I can help you with development and project manager. It's just a matter of experience. That's all it is.
And is that especially important? And it's interesting. You're from Texas, or you live in Texas, which is getting a massive influx, particularly of Californians, but people from all over the country. Florida, where you're vacationing right now, you get a lot of influx of mostly New Yorkers, people from the Northeast. Here in Nevada, we're getting the same phenomenon as Texas. A lot of Californians are moving here. It's not just coming here to buy homes and to live.
Right.
It's to work. They're bringing businesses. So does that give you a bit more of an advantage over, let's say, and I won't use any names, but just a straight commercial firm or just a straight residential firm? Does that give you a bit more of an advantage?
It does, but I advise everyone to treat your online presence as a brokerage, even if you're affiliated with a brokerage, right? Present your team in the same way you would present it if it was a brokerage. So you have commercial, and then you have residential services. I wouldn't say I was residential. Michael actually created that term, residential. He introduced that to the industry. Um, but I always write it up as commercial, and then you have residential services division, and then I spell out what that is. Residential services is okay. If you want to do a whole community, you want land for a whole community, you want development, I can help you with that. I can help you with relocation, and we can also assist. We have a team that assists our corporate clients with housing. So this way, you have the look of a traditional brokerage that has divisions: residential services, commercial. I wouldn't put residential on because it does have a negative connotation depending on the person's background. It's a positive and phenomenal if you're residential. If you're coming from commercial, it's not as welcomed as it should be.
And what are your thoughts on partnering? So if you're a commercial agent, partnering with a residential agent to be able to provide these services under one roof. And mind you, same brokerage. We're not talking about opposing brokerages, but that way you can divvy out that work and still have that specialization. Is that a good plan of attack?
Yes, every person should have a team. Like later on in the year, I'll start a nationwide team, a real estate team. Everyone should have a team, whether it's just you and what do you focus on, and you get someone else who focuses on the other half. If you really want to focus on commercial, like when I got into the business, I didn't want anything to do with residential anymore. But then I brought on someone that I can just refer the residential business to. So yes, you should. You should have a team, one that focuses on residential and one that focuses on commercial. Absolutely.
Excellent. Well, Tracee, I really appreciate this insight. I know our viewers are definitely going to appreciate it, especially our viewers on the EXP portal. We'll be posting this later on today. Thank you so much for your insight, and I look forward to continuing this conversation and finding out more about Qualified Agent.
Thank you, David. I appreciate it. I've enjoyed it. Thank you so much.